look for the Terrace Private Assisted Living.
This is the Gashouse Gang on your home of the St. Louis Cardinals. 1120 AM, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
The 1-1 pitch for Contreras. A swing, and there's a high fly ball. That's hit to right field, but it's going to be caught by Renfroe, and that's the game. Contreras flies out to right, and this ball game has come to an end. And the Royals salvaged a game in the series, 2-1.
That's all right. You go to Kansas City, you take 2 of 3. I'll deal with that. I will take that. I'll take a series win coming back home to face the Tigers tonight at Busch Stadium. We're going to have the ball game at 6:45. That's your first pitch. Cardinals, Tigers in St. Louis. And the pregame show is at 5:50. And before that, it is the Redbird Rush Hour with Matt Pauley and Kevin Wheeler. So we got plenty of Cards talk for you today throughout the day here on KMOX and really every day. This is the Gashouse Gang. Nate Gatter is in for Tom Ackerman. We welcome you into the show. And the number is 314-436-7900. Go ahead and join us. You can text too, if you want to, that number. Also, if you're listening on the Odyssey app, that's where you can send a voice message to us. You don't have to be listening on the app, but if you are, the button is right there. You click that button and you send us a message, and maybe we will get to it during the show. Might play it on the air. And, of course, we're streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Find us at KMOX Sports. So, Nate, this is a team that, you know, I like watching the standings at this point of the year. I know people say it doesn't matter. Why even look? I like to know where they are. I like to know, you know, maybe after 1 week, you don't really look at standings, but I like to pay attention throughout the year and see what their progress is like against the other teams in the division. And they're 2 games out right now of first place. I guess the only thing that went wrong for them this weekend, they took 2 of 3, but the Cubs got to play the White Sox. So they won all of those games. And so even in winning 2 of 3 on the road, they lost a game in the standings. So again, still early in the year. I like to pay attention to it, though.
I think Cardinals fans, to the extent that they need somebody to hold accountable for that, can hold you personally accountable for the Chicago White Sox.
Oh, God, that team sucks. They are just a flat-out embarrassment. They're not as embarrassing as the Rockies this year, though. The Rockies are
wouldn't it be
really
something
bad.
if we had the worst team in Major League history last year, and then the Rockies were, like, way worse this year, like, not even close? I mean, they're on pace to shatter the worst run differential in Major League history by 200 runs or close to it. I mean, that would be crazy if we had the worst team ever and then the Rockies were dramatically worse.
Back-to-back years to do that. 2 different teams, by the way. That's really remarkable. So, again, Cardinals take 2 of 3, and it is the Tigers in town tonight. They are a difficult team, and you talk about how bad the Rockies are. Right now, arguably, the Detroit Tigers are the best team in baseball, and I still think, you know, the Dodgers are the Dodgers. They don't have as good of a record, but they're still playing over 600 ball. What the Tigers are doing this year, and this has felt over the last couple of years like they were on this trajectory. They were on the way to becoming really, really good. It's going to be a tough series, and I think it's the one that so far I have looked forward to the most. Of all the series the Cardinals have played, it's this one. It's this one against this Tigers team, the way they are playing right now, and their run differential is extraordinary. They are right now at plus 144. I'm sorry, they're at plus 87. That's amazing. The Rockies, by the way, are at minus 144. That's where I got that. But Detroit's playing good ball. This is going to be a tough series. So if you're looking for a time to go to Busch Stadium to watch a good team and the Cardinals go up against a good team, this is it. Tigers coming to town tonight is it.
The Tigers are also the very rare team in Major League Baseball that have a winning record on the road. One of only 4. They have the second best record in the American League away from home. Interestingly, there are only 4 teams in the American League with winning records away from home. One of them is the Oaklamento Athletics.
The Oaklamento Athletics.
Isn't that amazing?
It is.
They're 8-13 at home and 14-12 away from home, which feels like it's sort of emblematic of maybe they don't like playing at their home ballpark very much. I wonder why. Anyway, the Tigers, absolutely. I mean, they've been moving in the right direction for a while. They have an excellent rotation. Jack Flaherty is going to make his return to Busch Stadium. He's scheduled to pitch in the finale, the day game on Wednesday against Andre Palante. I think tonight is a really important game for the Cardinals for a couple of reasons. First of all, it's, as of a few minutes ago, still TBA on the Tigers starting pitching. And that's anytime you're going to get somebody other than the top of that Tigers rotation, you're going to feel good about it because it's going to get a lot harder the next couple of days. Second of all, Sonny Gray on the mound. The Cardinals' bats bailed him out after a really poor start in Philadelphia. Now, to be fair to him, something must have been going on with the baseballs that day in Philadelphia because it was flying out for everybody, and that's part of why the Cardinals won the game, is Aaron Nola was giving up home runs left and right just the same. But the Cardinals need a response from Sonny Gray because now the bats have gone quiet, right? They have 2 runs over the last 2 games. Now, they had 12 hits, to be fair, yesterday after just 2 hits the day before.
A lot of RISP opportunities that they failed on.
Right. 13 runners left on base. Those kinds of games are going to happen.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't happen a lot, I'm okay. But every now and then it is going to happen.
It's sort of fitting that it happened after a game they won with only 2 hits. Right? They had 2 hits on Saturday and won the game 1-0 on the Jordan Walker homer. So, you get and you take. You give and you take, as it were, over Saturday and Sunday. And I think you kind of have to live with that outcome sometimes. But the bats are scuffling a little bit right now, at least with runners in scoring position, if not overall. And they need Sonny Gray to turn in something better than he did and kind of wash the taste of that last start away. And I think because of the starting pitching they're going to go up against, and they're going to have Eric Fetty and Andre Palante, not bad options, but it's not like the teeth of the Cardinals rotation is pitching Tuesday and Wednesday. The Cardinals are going to be on the wrong end of both of those pitching matchups. I think it's really important to win tonight's game, and you put yourself in a position then where you only need one of the remaining 2 in those more difficult pitching matchups to win the series.
It's always good to get that first one out of the way if you can do it. So to win tonight, I agree with you. That would be a huge start for them. It doesn't mean that, they're not going to end up losing the next 2, but still, you want to get this one. You definitely don't want to get swept at home. And I know that a lot of baseball people, as they are watching, and if you ask them, if the Cardinals beat the Tigers, if they win a series against the Dodgers, or if they were to play the Yankees and take 2 of 3, does that mean anything more to you? And some people will say it doesn't matter because you play who's on the schedule. A win is a win. Now, of course, a win against a division opponent also is always worth more because those are the teams that you're trying to beat to get into the playoffs. So you beat the Cubs, it's essentially worth a couple of games because it matters in your standings.
Especially in a situation like this one for the Cardinals where we assume that at the end of the year, their chances of winning the Central are probably as good or better than their chances of getting a wild card.
I totally agree because there are some really good teams in the National League. So, but when you beat a team like the Tigers, if you take 2 or 3 from them or if you sweep that series, see, I think it does sort of matter in helping determine what kind of team the Cardinals have, because we're getting to that point. I like to say that in a couple of weeks, if you've played about 60 games, you should have a pretty good idea of what your team is. There are going to be some outliers, some teams that through 60 games are really good or really terrible, and then they turn it on or they go the opposite direction. That does happen, but usually usually that's an outlier. You have generally speaking, a pretty good idea of what kind of ball club you've got.
Do you think that's
once you
true
get through
about,
2 months
about
of
the Cardinals
season.
this year? It feels like we're less certain about them than we ordinarily would be at this stage.
Only because of the youth, maybe. But I think that, I don't think that we're going to know more about the Cardinals or a whole lot more about the Cardinals at the end of June than we will know at the end of May. I
think this might just be a season where we're never confident we really know them.
And you know what? It could be one of those teams. It could be they have a good month, they have a bad month, good month, bad. That could be what they are. But as far as trying to get a handle on what kind of team they're going to be ahead of the trade deadline, is this a team that's looking to add? Are they looking to sell off? Are they just going to stay with what they have? I think you're going to know a good amount about that by the time you get through the end of this month. So in playing a team like the Tigers, if you do well here, I don't think it doesn't mean everything for the rest of the season, but it's another measure to look at. Like, where are they in relation to the best teams in baseball? So what they do against the Tigers, again, if they win 2 of 3, it doesn't mean they're better than the Tigers, but it does mean they can hang with them, at least for a series. So I like these series like this, and I think they're not everything, but I think there is some importance to them.
This is also something we could talk about after we come back. Has been mentioned already in our comments on YouTube and elsewhere. I think this is an interesting week, an interesting homestand for how the fans show up at Busch Stadium. What does this look like? Do they rally behind this team? Because if they don't, when are they going to? Right? They're playing great baseball right now. There's no way around it. And the fans need to rally behind this group to show them they're getting rewarded for that against 2 good ball clubs, because then Arizona comes in over the weekend.
Yeah.
2 good and exciting teams. Get an opportunity to see the reigning American League Cy Young winner in Tarek Skubal tomorrow, and then Jack Flaherty's return, obviously interesting on Wednesday. And he's been back at Busch Stadium, but to see anytime Jack pitches in St. Louis, I think there's a little juice to that as well. So I agree with you. I think this is the most excited I've been for a series, certainly a series at Busch Stadium so far this year. And they are in a position to really make some interesting things happen.
I mean, Cardinals-Cubs is always going to be that, right? But when you've got a team like this coming into town, what you do against them, I think it's pretty important, at least in my opinion it is. You mentioned the Diamondbacks who were here at the end of the week. It's funny because when you are in the middle of May, to be 3 games over 500 and you're still in 4th place, that division is a beast.
Brutal.
The National League West is so difficult, with the exception of the Rockies. So,
well, that's which is part of how the records end up that way, right? When you have one terrible team, it's a good way to bolster the other. To have 3 or 4 teams above 500, you got to have one terrible team.
Pretty sure that happened with the AL Central last year too. Nate Gatter is in for Tom Ackerman today. I'm Chris Ranji. It is the Gashouse Gang. Visit with us. Your questions, your comments, whatever. 314-436. 7900. You can text in or you can call into the show. Leave a voice message from the Odyssey app. If you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, you can leave your comment there as well. It's the Gashouse Gang on 104.1 FM KMOX.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. One question I'm always asked is, how did you become the largest injury firm in the world with over 1,000 attorneys and $25 billion in verdicts and settlements? One way was our financial strength. Medical malpractice is the 3rd leading cause of death in America. To prosecute a typical case costs up to $250,000 in case cost. We advance them all. Product liability cases can have similar costs with an army of lawyers on the other side. Automobile insurance companies have the resources to fight. Guess what? So do we. Many law firms simply may not have the financial firepower to work up your case the way you deserve. And we don't charge by the hour. No recovery, no fee. If you have a question about your case or wish to become a client, go to forthepeople.com on your mobile device or computer. 24/7. It's that easy. Morgan & Morgan. Injured? Dial # law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
When you want a brand new kitchen, there's nothing to it. There's a brand new way to do it. 3-day kitchen and bath. It's all about time.
3 days or less.
At 3-day kitchen and bath.
Do you love your house and hate the thought of assisted living? Whether you're caring for a loved one in your home right now or planning to live independently in the years ahead, call 3-Day Kitchen and Bath. They can completely remodel your old bathroom in just 3 days and back up their work with a 100% satisfaction guarantee on both their quality and craftsmanship. If all you need is a new walk-in tub or easy entry shower to make your life easier, they could do just that for you. Avoid the hassle and stress of remodeling. Check them out on the web at 3daykitchen.com or call 3-Day Kitchen and Bath for your free design consultation today. 3-Day Kitchen and Bath. It's about time.
It's about time.
3 days or less.
At 3-Day Kitchen and Bath.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED, because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/joy, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
Mizzou football is here to stay. After an undefeated home season and a second straight 10-win year, the Tigers are looking for more in 2025.
Eli and the boys have done it again.
With a top 10 transfer portal class and a strong home schedule highlighted by Kansas, Alabama, South Carolina, and Texas A&M, you don't want to miss out. Get your spot in line by joining the season ticket waitlist at mutigers.com/FB waitlist. MIZ.
Hi, Mia here at the winnings desk of the Missouri Lottery. So, I wanted to write a thank you note for every dollar Missouri Lottery players have given to Missouri and education. But that would be 8.4 billion notes. So to save a little time and a whole lot of paper, here's just one. Dear every single lottery player in Missouri, thank you for helping us give $8.4 billion to Missouri and education. Sorry, my trumpet's in the shop. The Missouri Lottery. Winners welcome and play responsibly.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friend Mark Cantor at Cantor Injury Law. So as you know, I'm a lawyer, so I take this very seriously. Mark is a great attorney. He has a great team. He is from St. Louis. He is local. Call 314-628-9999 or visit cantorinjurylaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
I'm Dave Glover, and I see clearly now thanks to the doctors, Dr. Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer. You can too. Just go to youridoc.com.
The Chris and Amy Show, weekdays starting at 9 on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Here's a swing and a high fly ball. Hit to deep left field. It might go. It's a gunner. A home run for Jordan Walker, his third of the year, and the Cardinals are on the board in the sixth.
It is the Gashouse Gang, 104.1 FM KMOX, and we are waiting for Cardinals baseball tonight. Looking forward to it. Good series against the Detroit Tigers. Will happen at Busch Stadium. And we had a messenger. It was somebody who was watching on YouTube, watching the Gashouse Gang. It says, I really hope the fans come out to support tonight. I know I'd be there if I weren't out in Utah. What are you doing in Utah?
Got low insurance in Utah. It's inexpensive.
Is that right?
Yeah, because people in Utah generally don't consume very much alcohol, so they're lower risk.
Oh. That is interesting.
For reasons that, we don't have to discuss, but they are. Generally, it's cheap to state to insure.
What do you think about this message? It says, I think the team was anxious to get home. They were on the road when the storms hit, but affected their communities in ways that may not fully embrace until they were on their home turf. Stay tough for tonight's game, team. I don't know if I'm sure that, as humans, they saw what was happening and they have feelings about it, of course. I don't know if they were in a hurry to get back home as a result of it, but maybe it's something some of them are thinking about. I'm glad to have them back home because they play better at home. They have done so much better at 15-6. It is the Cardinals have really good success in their ballpark, which
makes
is
this road trip all the more impressive, by the way, that they were finally able to flip that around. And playing in two ballparks, Philadelphia is always pretty full, and then Kansas City over the weekend, the way they've been playing against the Cardinals, that's like these are not that, again, it's May, not that opposing fans are causing problems or the environment is ever an issue or anything like that. But these were just, they're not places you can sleepwalk to wins. This was winning ball clubs on the road. And they went 7-2 on a long road trip. I mean, you don't see many 9-game road trips anymore in Major League Baseball. So, hugely successful trip. But you're right. They've been great at home. One of the best teams in the majors at Busch Stadium. And I think a lot of optimism around this club right now. And that's why we hope to see folks showing up to the ballpark this week. There's another comment on the YouTube stream. Ken Gregory said, are you guys ready to see Herrera moved up in the lineup, maybe cleanup? And, I mean, the guy's hitting 429. His OPS is over 1,300. Yeah, it's a pretty small sample size, and he DH'd all 3 games against Kansas City. We're not seeing him catch a whole lot, but he hit in all 3 of the games. He had multiple hits in 2 out of the 3, 6 hits in the series. At some point, it probably is time to think about moving him up in the lineup, and maybe the reason that people aren't screaming about that is because the other guys have, by and large, been hitting the ball pretty well, right? I mean, Donovan had 4 hits yesterday. Arenado had a couple of hits yesterday. Mason Wynn obviously has been a big catalyst in that number 2 spot. So maybe the only reason is because things are going pretty well. But Herrera and Burleson in that sort of 6-7 range in the lineup where they were yesterday have been doing damage.
I don't mind where he is right now, and there's also that possibility, and I don't know him, so I don't know how he views things or how he's affected by his place in the order. But there are some guys who feel less pressure if they're not hitting like 2nd or 3rd or 4th. Again, I don't know if he's one of those or not, but I don't know that there's any need right now to move him up. I mean, yeah, they yesterday had difficulty scoring runs. They left a lot of runners on base when they had the opportunities to drive them in. Those games, as we said, are going to happen as long as they don't happen a lot. I don't think it's something that needs to be addressed at the moment. So I am perfectly fine leaving him at about the 6th spot in the order. I don't see any reason to move him up just yet.
Let me ask you something else, and this is just coming from me, so you haven't had a chance to read a comment asking this question because this is coming straight out of my brain, which makes it maybe a little bit unfair because I'm springing it on you. But in the spirit of guys who are hitting over 400, and at some point you just have to respect the output, even if it's in a relatively small sample size, and give them more opportunities. How deep do we have to get in this season, and how good a position do the Cardinals have to be in before you say, we've got to find a way to get Thomas Saggese with the big club and in the game from time to time, and if it takes at-bats away from Nolan Gorman and stunts his development, well, so be it, because we're out here trying to win a National League Central in 2025, not develop Nolan Gorman for 2028.
All right. I am wavering on how I feel about this. And my feeling on Gorman going into the season was let the dude play. But then again, that was expecting Arenado was going to be dealt somewhere else. So my feeling was
expecting this team probably wasn't going to be pretty good, 5 games above 500 at this point in the season.
I mean, you can projections, do whatever you want with them, throw them in the garbage. I don't care. But the projections were they were probably going to be about 500 or maybe below. Okay, so this is not going into the season was not a team I thought would win. I didn't think they were going to win the division. But as the weeks have gone by, they have proven themselves, at least so far, to be competitive. So I'm not ready to give up on that, which means that my feeling at the beginning of the year of let Gorman play and forget about everything else, just let him either sink or swim and give him months, not weeks. Let him play through it, figure it out or not. That's what this season should be about. However, if they are winning, I feel like backing off that until they're not winning, which doesn't help his development, but that's just where I'm at. As long as they are winning right now, I'm not saying that you max out to do everything you can to help them win, like make a bad trade at the deadline that only helps them this year, but sets them back for the future. I'm not saying do that. But what I am saying is, as long as you're in striking distance and you're competitive and you're only a couple of games back of the team that's leading the division, I say you're still in win mode.
Right, because we're not talking about, trade Nolan Gorman for a 3-month relief pitcher rental or something like that. We're talking about let this other 23-year-old kid who can't stop hitting 350 maybe hit the ball a couple of times. Which, the Cardinals have, this feels like we've been saying this about some position group or another, if not the entire roster. The Cardinals have a lot of guys who are sort of in similar buckets, right? And they got to try to figure out the best way to get them all at bats. And I do understand, especially at this stage of the season, I understand why if the choice was Saggese's going to be the 25th or 26th guy and occasionally get his at bats, and get 1 or 2 starts a week, or send him down to Memphis to play every day. Send him down to Memphis to play every day is clearly the right option. There's no question. If it becomes, and I also want to say it's sort of a false choice between Saggese and Gorman. Nolan Gorman didn't start any of the 3 games in Kansas City, so it's not like they're just rolling Nolan Gorman out there at second base or DH every single game. So it's a little bit of a false choice. But at some point, I think finding some spot for Thomas Sajaci, if he can help you this year, becomes just as important as does it help him developmentally and does it help or hurt anybody else.
Nate Gatter is in for Tom. I'm Chris Ranji. It is the Gashouse Gang. We're going to break a little bit away from the normal programming we would have at this point, and the reason is we are expecting a press conference with Mayor Kara Spencer, an update on the cleanup in St. Louis as the tornado came through on Friday. So we're going to get that update from her. I believe Senator Hawley is there too. Don't know if he's speaking, but he is present. So we could be hearing from the senator as well. So we've got Kara Spencer, the mayor, with an update on the storms and the cleanup happening. That is coming up next on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Hey guys, Dave and Rach here for our good friends at Smart Mouth. So it is unique by the very definition of the word. It's the only mouth rinse out there with 2 chemicals that combine to prevent bad breath for 24 hours a day with just 2 rinses a day.
Never have bad breath again. You can find Smart Mouth locally at Schnucks and Deerbergs or at Walgreens, Walmart, and Amazon. Visit smartmouth.com to snag a special discount on your next Smart Mouth purchase. That's smartmouth.com/Glover.
Hi, Stacy with Fairwinds River's Edge Senior Living in St. Charles. Are you a senior seeking a fun retirement? Do you want less work and more play? Do you want to enjoy great food that you don't have to cook? Then I know. Stop what you're doing right now and call Fairwinds. Set up a time to visit and have a meal. Meet some of our awesome residents. Check us out online at fairwindsriversedge.com. We hope to talk with you soon.
It is 76 degrees in St. Louis. Some storms coming through the area this afternoon, and then again tonight. Could be severe. At least some of them. We're keeping an eye on that. The weather is brought to you by FanDuel Sports Network, with more ways to watch your Cardinals this season. Cardinals fans, new this season, you can subscribe directly to FanDuel Sports Network and stream the Cardinals. Sign up at FanDuelSportsNetwork.com or stream FanDuel Sports Network through Prime Video with an add-on subscription. Visit Cardinals.com/TV to learn more.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Hi, this is Charlie Brennan. I see clearly now thanks to the doctors, Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer. You can too. YourEyeDoc.com.
Just a reminder to have your air conditioner checked for the summer so you don't have a mishap and it goes down in the hottest day of the year. But it's always best to have it done. Call us and we'll be more than happy to come out there and check it for you. And like always, if you haven't having your furnace checked by another company and you are told that this is the year you need to replace it, call me for a second opinion. The 0% interest is still available on most brands. Save your cash and keep your credit cards open and away from those high rates. Call me. You'll be glad you did. Bart Inman, one easy number in Missouri and Illinois. The easiest. It is 314-293-2600 or on the website bartinman.com. Now that's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
Now the John Rooney Conversation on KMOX. Sponsored by Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance. We are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance. And if you're a Missourian, we're for you.
Normally we visit with John Rooney here on the Gashouse Gang, 104.1 FM KMOX at about this time on Mondays and on Fridays. We have him on both days. But because we are waiting for the press conference to begin with the mayor of St. Louis, Kara Spencer, we know Senator Hawley is here in St. Louis and is in attendance. We don't know if he's taking questions or if he's speaking, if he'll have any remarks at all. But we are going to take that press conference live when it does happen. It was scheduled for 12:30, so running just a little bit behind at this point. The Gashouse Gang, by the way, is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. SaligaHeatingandCooling.com. So, again, I think this thing is about to get started very, very shortly here, but not right at the moment. It is a press conference about the storm damage and what is next, and I know that this has affected a lot of people. About 5,000 buildings in St. Louis were affected. The estimates are $1.6 billion worth of damage, and it could be more than that. So, of course, we're going to pay attention. Nate Gatter is in for Tom Ackerman, and we're going to lead you up until that press conference. I'm Chris Ranji. So thank you for being with us today. Cardinals and the Tigers will be playing tonight at Busch Stadium, 6:45 first pitch. Really looking forward to this series just because of how good the Tigers are and, you know, where the Cardinals are right now. So this message of somebody watching on YouTube, actually it's Nick, he checked in again, and he said this year looks very different having two players in the lineup hitting 200 or lower for the entirety of the year so far. And I think what Nick is trying to say is despite the fact that there are a couple of guys in the lineup who have been struggling, they're still hitting. They're still scoring runs as a team. So if that's what he's getting at, then I understand that, like Jordan Walker, for example, is probably the prime example of it. Because
I will say, I just, in a little bit of contrast to Nolan Gorman, and maybe this is a bit unfair because Gorman has shown he can do it in flashes and even, you know, for extended periods in a way that Walker has struggled to do at the major league level. I am still a firm Jordan Walker believer. That 2023, I mean, it just looks so promising in 2023. And I still think when you actually have eyes on him, when you watch him play, he's still doing good things. He's still going about the business on a day-to-day basis. He has dramatically improved as a defender, despite the fact the Cardinals have put him in really difficult positions in having to learn different spots. You know, the Arenado trade caused problems for Gorman and even more so for Jordan Walker defensively as they were coming up in the minors. And he doesn't even turn 23 years old until Thursday, right? He is still a very, very, very young guy.
Yes.
He's younger than Thomas Ajayci, for example, who we're all excited about, you know, the potential and all that. So I think there is still so much there. And I think the defense, to me, it's great because of the value the defense provides on its own. And it's also evidence of a guy who is still doing all the right things, right? If he was coming off last year saying, I'm frustrated, the Cardinals haven't treated me right, I feel like I'm turned around, baseball's not fun anymore, he would not have showed up this year able to play substantially better right field because that doesn't happen without a lot of work in the offseason. He's doing those things that it's going to take to get it moving in the right direction.
See, that's exactly where I am on him, is that I have one concern about him, and that is if he were to allow this 189 batting average of his, which he's had for almost 2 months now, if he were allowing that to affect him, to the point where, and as a young player, and you're trying to establish yourself in the big leagues, if you hit like that for a long time, that can do a lot of damage to your long-term career because mentally it can screw you up. If I felt like that was going to happen with him, I'd be way more concerned about it. So it's like the only thing that I'm paying attention to with him, and I don't feel that worried about it. Maybe if it stays like this for another month or so, maybe it starts to wear on him. But by all accounts, he is handling this very well. He's handling the fact that he's not hitting all that well perfectly fine. You mentioned how good his defense is. Sometimes you take that out to the field with you if you're not performing offensively, and he's not done that. So at this point, I'm not worried about Jordan Walker. And I feel like if they are winning games, especially if they are winning games, you don't have to do anything.
Yeah, I think with the two of that, what's The two of them always go hand in hand in my mind because it's one thing when you've got guys who are high on prospect lists and you call them up and it just never happens, right? It just never quite comes together. I don't think there's anything more frustrating as a fan base, or certainly as a player, right? Nobody's more frustrated than they are, than having guys come up and do it over a reasonably extended period of time. Like 2023, they both did it. Walker over 117 games, Gorman over 119. They had OPSs of 787 and 806, respectively. Phenomenal offensive numbers for rookies.
Right.
Walker hit 16 homers. Gorman hit 27 homers that year. Both of them took a big step back last year, and both of them have gotten even worse this year offensively. Walker's OPS down to 528 and Gorman down to 566. It's just, I think that's a really hard experience for everybody because it's not that linear development. If it had gone the other way, if they had OPSs in the 500s 2 years ago, then last year in the 600s, then this year, it's like nobody's going to be screaming about it in 2023 because they're rookies, and you expect that when they show something and then expectations are in a different place the last couple of years and they can't get there. I think it just creates a very different narrative that's difficult to get turned around. But for whatever reason, I feel the Cardinals owe a little bit more leash to Jordan Walker than they do to Nolan Gorman at this stage.
I totally agree with you. I think we'll put him out there, let him play, and let him figure it out one way or the other. Nate Gatter, Chris Ranji, we will take a break here. What we're going to do is keep monitoring this press conference. We're expecting the mayor to hold a press conference here shortly on the storm damage, what the developments are as of right now. If that press conference starts in the middle of a break, we will get right to it. So you're not going to miss anything if you stay here on 104.1 FM KMOX. The show is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, SaligaHeatingandCooling.com.
We are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance, and we're here for all of life's wins. Like when you get a new car, or new boat, or new driver, or when your son moves out, but your mom moves in, or you find out you're expecting again, or when one rental property turns into 2, then 20, or you realize they're all in Tornado Alley. Life is full of life events, so call your Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance agent or visit mofbinsurance.com to find an agent near you, and we'll make sure you have the right coverage for each of life's wins.
We are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance, and we're for the people of Missouri, in good times and in bad. We're from Missouri families and Missouri communities. We're for giving back to those communities and lifting people up. And when Missouri weather rips through our state, we're for helping put back the pieces. We're for brighter days and new tomorrows. We are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance, and if you live in Missouri, we're for you.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call the Lance Story Law Firm today and let us get between you and the IRS. We'll protect your rights, including your right to appeal or even your right to take the IRS to tax court. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney team who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Story Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis, or visit Lance, DRURY, law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm, the Lance Story Law Firm, 314-260-6120.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Got some good news for you. We've got tickets to give away to see the Cardinals and the Tigers. They will play on Wednesday. It is a day game. And right now we got a 4-pack of tickets to give out to you. We're looking for caller number 6 to the contest line at 314-955-1120. That is 955-1120. Caller 4 gets to go see the Cardinals Tigers Wednesday.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Here's how to get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. Our U.S.-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you, and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
This Memorial Day weekend, bring your crew to Busch Stadium to see the Cardinals take on the D-backs. May 23rd to the 25th, catch great promotions all weekend long, including a Mason Win bobblehead and a Kid City Connect jersey giveaway. Kick off your summer with ballpark hot dogs, ice-cold beers, and entertainment for the whole family. Tickets are available at Cardinals.com. This is how summer is meant to be. See you at the ballpark.
This is Alec Burleson, St. Louis Cardinals, for the Lou.
Catch a Cardinals game on your next date night or friends night out. Whether it's love in the stands or laughter with your crew, nothing beats ballpark vibes under the lights. Cold drinks, great eats, and Cardinals baseball. Check out Friday Night Live at Busch Stadium and enjoy happy hour price food and drinks all game long. Every Friday home game. Get your tickets today at Cardinals.com and make memories that go beyond the scoreboard. Busch Stadium, where great nights begin.
Here's a few questions for you from California Psychics. Do your workdays seem to go on forever? Is your career progression as fast as downtown traffic? Or does your boss still not know your name?
Hey, you, Tina, Lisa, Sheila, whatever. Get that report to me by lunch, okay? It's Carrie, ma'am. Just get it done, Terry.
It's time to read the career warning signs and talk to California Psychics. We're always on hand to give you the career guidance you need. You see, we only connect you with the very best. In fact, 98% of the psychics who apply to work with us don't make the grade. That's why we can guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. So you could soon be telling your boss where to stick that report.
Where are you going, Terry? Terry!
Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics. Call 1-800-PREDICT today and get 20 minutes for just $20.
Now, back to the Gashouse Gang on your home of the St. Louis Cardinals. 1120 AM, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Nate Gatter, Chris Ranji on 104.1 FM KMOX. It is the Gashouse Gang. Still waiting for that press conference to get started. It is on the storm damage, and we know the mayor, Kara Spencer, is going to speak. We also, we're not sure if Senator Josh Hawley is going to speak, but we know he was in attendance. So we'll bring it to you as soon as it happens. But I got Nate Gatter with me for a few more moments here on the Gashouse Gang. And Nate, let's talk real quick City SC. Because there was a report out of Europe earlier today, and who knows what the veracity is of the story, but it is one of those accounts that has a lot of followers. So
I will also say for people who maybe don't follow soccer, especially in Europe that often, it's like part of the European soccer culture that there are a million random accounts, including of people who are semi-anonymous, who all claim to be insiders, and they just say things. And like,
well, I don't know if
it's very
it was one
different
of those
than American insider culture, where, right? I'm just saying, in general, rumors tend to fly. The verification processes are maybe not what they are here, where when one of the 2 or 3 leading insiders in a particular sport posts a trade or a signing on Twitter or a firing or whatever, you can just take it as fact and it's just going to happen. It's European soccer reporting tends to be much less reliable on the whole.
So there was this report from this outlet that Olaf Melberg was on the verge of being dismissed by City SC. And Tom Bogert, do you know Tom Bogert,
yes,
who was an MLS and men's national team insider? He says this: any rumor that City had parted ways with head coach Olaf Melberg is premature for the moment, but the club's leadership continues to evaluate the team's performance and progress. They have just 11 points after 14 matches. They've scored 11 goals, which is 28th in the league. That is not good, Nate.
That is the same information that I have, and I think it's been, it's been confirmed that he is not yet fired, nor is it going to happen today or in the immediate future, because he was at training today with the team. The media, could see him there taking training. So certainly you'd anticipate he'll at least be in charge on Wednesday when they rematch against Minnesota, this time in the U.S. Open Cup. But, we talked about it last week. I don't think you have to be a genius or an insider for that matter to say that he's on very, very tenuous territory right now.
I honestly, and I don't know if this is about him. You know soccer better than I do, in terms of an X's and O's sort of viewpoint. But I don't know how you can, after the owner of the team during the offseason literally said we have to make the playoffs. I don't know how you continue, whether or not it is his fault. I don't know how you don't make some sort of massive change in the middle of the year when you're one of the bottom teams in the league. I don't know how you don't. It's almost like you have to. And by the way, Senator Hawley is walking up to the microphones right now, and it looks like he is about to speak, and we are getting an update on the storm damage.
Can you hear me? Good? Wait for this guy. Are you good, sir? Good? Okay. All right. It's good to be here. I've spent the last few hours on the ground, just walking, just going house to house up in Penrose, the Ville, just talking with people out on the street, meeting with their neighbors, hearing about what they're going through. The devastation, I don't have to tell you, is terrible. I think it is hard to capture in words. It is even harder to capture in some ways in images. You've really got to see it. And two things really strike me coming out of this. Number one is that the federal government has a big role to play here. We need to get the federal government mobilized. All federal resources that can be brought to bear here should be. All federal resources that are available need to come to this community. Can you guys hear me over that? I'll wait. Good. So I look forward to working with the governor to get an emergency disaster declaration. I know the governor's at work on that. We talked to his team again this morning. Obviously, he wants to get that out the door as soon as possible. That needs to come quickly. When it does, we will immediately push it and ask the White House to expedite this so that we can unlock disaster relief. I'd like to see individual assistance come as well. We need rebuilding funds for communities, but we also need individual assistance. I talked to so many people who they're going to need that individual assistance. That's number one. Number two, to all of our friends in the insurance industry, I've got a message for you. You need to pay out claims. We need 100% of claims that are eligible to be paid out, and they need to be paid out in full. I have written to every insurance company, every insurer in the state over the weekend and put them on notice. I'm in the middle of an investigation right now in the Homeland Security Committee on insurance companies, including ones in this state, and their failure to pay out claims. This is a real acid test. If they want to make good, they need to pay out claims to every person who has been injured, every person who suffered damage, and that is so many people. There's a lot of claims that need to be paid, and we will be tenacious. I have set up a hotline already at my Senate page. We have an email hotline. We've got an online portal devoted. We're going to have a number set up so people can call us. I've been handing out my number left and right. I said, if you can't get your claims processed, you come to me. I want to see these insurance companies pay out these claims. These folks are going to need it. I want to say thank you to the fire chief, who has done an extraordinary job. As I was walking the streets this morning, just talking to people, I had numerous people tell me that the fire folks had been in, had helped them, in some cases helped them move debris, had done wellness checks, helped them get out of the house. I want to thank the police chief. Chief Tracy is doing a phenomenal job. You know, what I heard over and over from residents today is they said our neighborhoods are calm. At night, they are safe. The mayor obviously has done a terrific job. She's got this situation in hand, is really working it hard. And now the federal government needs to do its part, and the insurance companies need to do their part. So there's a lot of work to do. There's a lot of rebuilding to do. But these are beautiful neighborhoods, beautiful communities, and the history here is extraordinary. As I was walking these streets, just talking to residents, talking about their grandmother lived here. They raised their children here. One family said they'd been here for 80 years. You know, those are that kind of community. You can't find that anywhere else. We don't want to see that lost. We want to see it rebuilt. And there's a lot of work to do on that beginning ASAP. With that, I'm happy to take your questions, and I think the mayor's here. The mayor's happy to take questions as well.
Senator, you called on the president before to send in National Guardsmen when it secure college campuses over protests. Would you call on the president or the governor, maybe more appropriately, to send in surge manpower, National Guardsmen here now?
Yeah, I think, Mark, the governor is running this relief and recovery operation. I think he's doing a really good job. The Guard may be something he may want to consider. To your point, there's a lot of debris. There's a lot of need out there. I will defer to him on that. It's his decision as to whether or not to mobilize the Guard. But I will tell you, we've been in constant contact with the governor's office. They're on top of this, and I know that he will surge as much manpower as needed. But you're not wrong about the need for manpower. I mean, I can just tell you, just walking the streets here, there is a lot of need. There's a lot of need, and there's a lot of severe weather in the forecast. And just simple things like getting tarps on these houses. You know, a lot of the folks I talk to, they're in their homes, but their homes don't have roofs. They need tarps, they need help, they need some relief. So there's a lot of work to do.
Senator, is there some concern that FEMA isn't on the ground right now?
I'm sorry, say that again.
What do you say to residents who want to know why FEMA isn't on the ground right
Yeah, it's a good question. My understanding is that the governor has the state running point, and he has the state and state resources. He wants them to run point and FEMA to assist, which I understand is happening. Listen, I will leave that to him, but I will just say this. FEMA has a lot of resources, and we want to see all of them deployed here, and we want to see assistance come in full to this area. So I'm going to be a dog on a bone with that. The governor's emergency request will unlock that, and so we hope to see that soon.
Is there a double standard? I mean, with hurricanes, we have pre-declarations of emergency. We still, as you know, haven't had a declaration from the March.
Yes.
Are we talking about 2 months from now and still not having a declaration?
Oh, I hope not. I hope not. I mean, the governor, I think, will make his request, his initial request this week. I hope within maybe the next day or so. And then I'm going to urge the White House to move on that immediately. I mean, this is very severe. I mean, it's very severe. And to your point, we cannot wait months. I'm not happy about the fact we're still waiting from all of that damage 2 months ago. We lost 12 people in those storms. We've lost 7 here. The scope of the damage is immense. 7 lives, it's horrible to lose, and the additional scope of the damage is immense. We need FEMA to act very quickly, very, very quickly, and that'll be my message to the president.
Any idea why FEMA has initially denied before they got approved again? Are you concerned that Missouri, for either March or earlier this month, could be denied initially?
I'm told that we have not been denied from our earlier request. The White House is.
Are you concerned you could be denied like Arkansas?
No, because I think our governor is pretty good at putting in the declaration what he needs. And I've already talked to the White House about our earlier pending declaration. They told me it is in order. The Governor Kehoe requested everything he was supposed to request. I would anticipate another disaster declaration request from him very soon. I don't want to speak for him, but I think it'll be very soon. And as soon as it comes, we will push it hard, and I'll urge the White House to act quickly.
Senator, what's
Sir.
your reaction to seeing this damage, seeing what's going on?
You know, my reaction is that it's devastating, and just talking to residents, talking with them about the history there. I mean, talking to families who say, one gal told me, my son played in this tree that's now uprooted and lying over the top of her porch. Another gal who's 88 years old talked about raising her whole family there, and she lived in the house her mother lived in. I mean, this is the kind of tight-knit community that you can't just go find that magically. This has grown up over decades and decades. We want to see that rebuilt. And, you know, people's lives have been torn apart. I mean, this isn't just about physical damage, though that's severe. It's about the emotional damage. It's about a neighborhood being torn apart. But I tell you the other thing is, boy, these neighborhoods are strong. What I saw everywhere I went was volunteers out. I met one gal, they have no power in their house, and she said she's cooking for the whole neighborhood. And I said, how are you doing that without power? She showed me she had 3 grills, Weber grills, and a smoker stacked up on the sidewalk, and she was cooking for the entire neighborhood. Now that's neighborly spirit. That's Missouri right there. That's the best of who we are. So there's a lot of strength. There's a lot of heart. Now the federal government and the insurance companies need to do their part to help these good folks recover. Not yet, but I will tell you, I was just talking with a gal who was on the phone with State Farm, who's the biggest insurer in our state, and who appeared before my committee just a few days ago. And their track record is not good. And I just talked to this gal who was on the phone with them today, and already she said they were telling her, well, we don't know when we can get an adjuster out there. Well, we need you to fill out these forms first. Well, and I said, I don't want to hear that. So she's got my number, and I said, if they give you the runaround, I want to know about it. But can I just say again, to the insurers in this state, to State Farm, to Allstate, to all of the insurers in the state, you need to pay out your claims. You're making lots of money, and you've made a lot of money on these people. It's time now to pay out their claims in full. Lauren, did you have something else?
Yeah, is there anything Congress can do to legislate expediting this process? Do we
Maybe.
need to make it go faster?
Well, and this is, you know, this maybe gets to Greg's question. I mean, maybe we need to do something outside the hurricane context where we can get pre-declarations, where we can get moving more quickly. FEMA, I'm told, the governor told me this morning, FEMA is going to be on the ground to do damage assessments, I think, within the next 48 hours. So, you know, that's good, but this all needs to happen real fast. That needs to happen real fast.
Senator, what do you think has changed since the last administration to move this FEMA process along faster?
What should change? What has changed? Well, I hope there's a sense of urgency. It's certainly, listen, this is my job to communicate a sense of urgency to FEMA and to the White House that this devastation is significant, the need is great, and we need to act quickly. And I would just communicate that same sense of urgency to the private insurers, because to be clear, FEMA can pay out individual assistance, and they should everywhere they can, but that's capped by law. Most of the individual assistance that people are going to see is going to come from their insurance companies. So that's why we need this investment in these communities. We need to see it come quickly. Yeah, Mark.
We're hearing some reports of people perhaps opposing this FEMA, or scammers maybe in the trying to take opportunity here.
Yeah.
What role does the state attorney general have
Big role.
in fighting back against that?
Yeah, big role. This is an important point, and I know that Andrew Bailey, I've talked to the Attorney General about this storm. Often you get people who try to do price gouging right now. You get all kinds of scammers. So those people need to be prosecuted. If they're out there, they need to be charged, they need to be prosecuted. I know the Attorney General will do that. And let me just take my part as former Attorney General to warn any potential scammer out there, listen, what you're doing is illegal, you will be prosecuted. So my message is to the scammers, knock it off or face the full front of the law, the full force of the law. To the insurance companies, get with it, because these people need relief.
Have you spoken to the president yet about what happened here?
Not about this, but soon. Thank you, guys. Do you want to hear from the mayor? Anything the mayor can add?
Senator, I just want to thank you.
No, absolutely.
I want to thank you for being here. Thank you for showing up to St. Louis. Thank you for making these requests. Thank you for being bold here. Thank you for having the back of St. Louis.
Absolutely. Thank you. She's doing a
Thank
great
you.
job.
Thank you. Do you have any questions for me? I can give a quick brief. You guys know this was an unprecedented storm. Okay, 8 miles of pure destruction, at times a mile wide. We're talking about thousands of buildings. Thousands of families are being displaced. The recovery work is just beginning. We have gone through the search and rescue. Our fire department, our police department have done unprecedented amount of work. Our city departments have cleared the roads, and we are just getting started in the recovery mode.
The best places for people who need housing tonight, where do they go?
We are pointing people to 211, the American Red Cross. We are transporting people in a partnership with the American Red Cross from the Ville to shelters. 211 is the best place. If it gets overloaded, we have backup plans in place. We'll be announcing those as needed.
Have you spoken to the governor about the National Guard?
I have spoken to the governor. The governor has been incredibly communicative with me, my team, the state, everybody involved. I have full confidence that our governor is doing our part to make those asks, to make those declarations, so we can get the federal assistance that we so badly need to get through this unprecedented disaster.
What about the problem with people returning to their homes
That are unsafe. The building division has already inspected well over 1,000. And we are not doing any work to take buildings down right now without ownership involved. We are purely out there trying to establish a level of safety so folks know the level of damage that their homes have withstood.
But what about for people who return to them anyway, being the only thing they have?
Yeah, it is their only thing they're having. We are working to make sure we have supplies and other housing for folks, and we're asking for folks to exercise extreme caution when re-entering their buildings.
Do you think the federal government is moving fast enough?
Look, I'm hoping that the federal government kicks into gear here today. We absolutely desperately need federal assistance, and we are leaning on them to do what they can.
The governor's office told us this morning they're considering maybe sending National Guard, but
Okay.
usually they help sandbag the floods. Could you use the manpower?
We could absolutely use the manpower. Look, our folks have been working around the clock for 48 hours now, and they have done an incredible amount of work, but there is so much more work to be done. We absolutely need the manpower, and it could absolutely be helpful, and we reiterate that request.
But if the chance of severe weather, thinking about building inspectors, you don't have enough. Where would those extra?
We are working on that. We are looking at doing exactly what you're talking about and pulling in resources from other capacities to help us out.
If their building hasn't been checked yet, especially with more severe weather in the forecast for this evening, should people trust their buildings to be safe if there's any amount?
If you don't, if there's any question, please don't trust your building. We are very concerned about coming weather. That is why we've gotten out tarps. We're working out 2x4, all the pieces to try to secure your property. But the human toll that this has already taken we've lost 5 lives. 38 people have been injured. We are very concerned about that. If you have any doubt, please seek shelter. Please don't chance it. Your lives are too important. We have shelter for you and your belongings. We're working on ways through insurance and federal assistance to make you whole. But please don't risk your lives tonight.
Mayor, you still have a lot of citizens.
We are going to have a full report on that today. We are taking that very seriously. We will have more information today about that. I just don't have it right now.
Mayor, you still have a lot of citizens with the American Red Cross. What do you tell citizens who want to donate, who want to help?
Thank you for asking. We do have our website up. We are plugging in ways for citizens to help. Please do sign up to volunteer. There are countless ways to help. We're streamlining that. We're coordinating it. We don't want citizens just going out willy-nilly because there are still so many down wires. There is still so much danger. Please, please, please sign up. Please do help. We have lots of ways to plug in. Please use caution if you do go out. We're not trying to discourage folks from helping the community. There's so much need out there, but please be careful. Thank you.
We're going to get an update from the American Red Cross now.
Good afternoon. The American Red Cross has been working very closely with the mayor's office to ensure that the residents in St. Louis City, particularly those hard-hit areas like the Ville and the Greater Ville.
All right, guys, Dave Glover here. We're going to leave the press conference. I think we learned what we had to learn there. Going to do a few spots, the news, and then the DGS